Hello everybody and welcome back to another Rockabilly guitar lesson. This is another request that I've received. Today I want to show you how to play the solo from Eddie Bond's Rockin' Daddy, a song that was originally written and recorded by Texas Rockabilly legend Sonny Fisher. But I want to show you the Eddie Bond version here, which was released on the Mercury label in 1956, and I'm the happy owner of this 78, including the company sleeve with I've Got a Woman on the other side. I mean, this is a classic double-sided, doesn't get much better than this. It sounds absolutely fantastic, I tell you that. And the guitar player who played the hot licks on Rockin' Daddy, I Got a Woman, and all the other early Eddie Bond stuff was no other than Reggie Young, who later became one of the original members of the Blacks combo in 1959. And then 10 years later, he recorded with Elvis himself big hits like In the Ghetto, Suspicious Minds, Kentucky Rain. So this is Reggie Young for you, a Strat player as well. And I hope you like this lesson. The tabs and gem tracks are available on Patreon as usual. The links are in the description below, also to my website rockabillyguitarlessons.de. After the actual lesson, I will answer some questions that I get asked pretty frequently, and I also have a bonus lesson for you at the end of this video. And if you haven't done yet, please subscribe to my channel to never miss a lesson. And my goal is to reach 17,000 before Christmas, so if you can help me achieve that, that would be amazing. Also, every sharing and commenting on social media platforms is highly appreciated. But now I'll show you how to play the solo from Eddie Bond's Rockin' Daddy as played by Reggie Young. Rockin' Daddy by Eddie Bond is in the key of E, and the first phrase goes like this. It's a pretty long one. I'll play it all the way through. 1 and 2 and 3. So you start on 3N with a pickup, play the G string 4th fret and the B string at the same time twice, and then you add the E string on 4N. So it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3. And then the next bar sounds like this. So you start with a slide from the 2nd to the 4th fret, G string. And then you play the top 3 strings 3 times. You repeat the slide, and again 3 times the top 3 strings. And I wrote down the whole chord, the other top 3 strings for the entire first phrase, even though sometimes you don't hear the E string as loud, or sometimes you don't hear it at all. But I think, yeah, it doesn't matter too much. As long as you get more than one string, you'll be fine. Yeah, play 2 or 3 strings and it'll sound fine. So then in the next bar, you play exactly the same as in the second bar. Whoops. And then following bar, you will double up on the slide. So you play a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and what we got so far is this. 1 and 2 and 3. And then the next bar, you do 3 slides. And after the 3rd slide, you play the 2nd fret E string. Then the next phrase goes like this. Starting on the 5th fret E string to 8, back to 5, 8 to 5 on the B string, then you slide from 7 to 9 on the G string, and play 10 on the B string. Then you slide back from 9 to 7 on the G string, and then you play 5, 7 on the D string, and again 5 to 7, G to D string. Let me repeat you this whole phrase. And you start on 4 and. Yeah, let me count with it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And the next phrase sounds like this. So you start with an open E and B string on 4 and, then you play a slide from 2 to 4 on the G string, followed by an open E string, slide back, open G string, and second fret of the D string. This is the first part of the phrase. Yeah, let's put this together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then you play the open B and G string, second fret G string, slide again, open E string just like in the first part, slide back, G string and second fret D string. So here's the whole phrase for you. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then you got to move all the way to the 12th fret, B string, for the next phrase that goes like this. It sounds simple, but it's quite a stretch here. I use my middle finger to slide from the 13th to the 16th fret of the G string. So you play the B string first, followed by the slide, and you do this 3 times. One more time. And then the last phrase. You play the 12th fret B string 3 times, do 14, 12 to 15 on the E string, then a hammer on from 12 to 15. You play 12, 15 to 12 on the B string, then a slide from 14 to 16 on the G string, 17 on the B string, slide back, and then 12 to 14 G to B string, and then you slide off. Last part again. And that starts on 2, by the way. Huh? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. And together with the slides here. They start on 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And here's the whole solo for you, played slowly at half speed to the metronome. 1 and 2 and 3. I'm actually very surprised how often I get this question. The truth is, I bought most of my shirts and pants in the mid-90s to 2005, 2010. So some years ago when the stuff was still available and pretty cheap. I bought it from vintage dealers at concerts, festival, at vintage clothing stores in America. And yeah, you still can get some of it. No, I think the best chance would be eBay or at Rockabilly festivals like the Rockabilly Rave, Viva Las Vegas, or smaller ones like Tear It Up in Croatia. I bought this shirt in Finland, actually. That was, I think, in the late 90s. The strings that I use on all my guitars, the Strat, the Telecaster, and also the Guild, is this package here, produced by Tomastic Infeld. It's the Jazz Swing Series 11th gauge flat wound strings. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them and got used to them, so this is what I use. Yes, I can record and produce jam tracks for you, whole songs or parts of songs that you request, but I can't do it for free. If I can't use it here on my YouTube channel, then I have to do it especially for you, the one who requests the songs or the jam tracks, and I have to actually listen to the song, make notes, because I want to give you a good result, or not anything which sounds like a MIDI track or like a generic track. And then I have to learn some of the stuff on the drums and maybe the piano as well. Then I will drive to the recording studio or the music school, record the drums, the bass, the acoustic guitar, the piano, and I usually don't get everything on one take. Yeah, so it takes up like to 2 hours to do the whole recording thing, and then coming back home, mixing the thing, and adding maybe some reverb or delay to make it sound good, and then I can send it to you. So if you think of your work, what you would charge for 2 hours of work, that's what I would charge. Less, even less, but it'll get expensive. If I can't use it here on my YouTube channel, a special exclusive jam track just for you will be expensive. I hope you can understand that. And the same goes for tabs and video lessons as well, that I can't use here on my channel because I want to focus on 1950s rock and roll and rockabilly. So if you want to hear a jazz song, or if you want to know how to play a jazz song, or a late 60s Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash version, or a Stray Cat song from the 80s, I'm not an expert on that. There are guitar players who do probably a much better job than I do. So I would have to sit down and listen to them even more than to the songs that I know by heart. And then it takes me probably an hour or 1.5 hours to write down the tabs. And then I have to learn the actual solo, record it on video, edit it, and then send it to you. So it's more than 2 or 3 hours of work involved. I really hope you can understand that I can't do anything for free or just for $5. That being said, if I can use it on my YouTube channel, then I happily do it, and I will just ask you to consider supporting me on Patreon. That's all. I think the best approach is to treat it like a poem, or lyrics of the song. You wouldn't start at the top and go read the whole poem till the end and try to memorize it. You go verse by verse or word by word. I mean, whatever you can remember, whatever you can memorize. And it's the same with guitar phrases. Don't try to learn the whole solo in one piece. Try to go measure by measure. Or if that's too much, go note for note. And then you start slowly with a metronome. And what I do is, if I can play a part, like one measure at a certain speed, and I can do it 3 times in a row without a mistake, then I speed up by 5 or 10 beats per minute. And then I try it again until I can play it 3 times in a row without a mistake. And again, then I get up again, 10 beats per minute, and you get the picture. So that's how I learn it. I think that's a good approach. And don't try to get everything done on one day. I mean, you have days, weeks, months. If you look back like half a year ago, could you play that piece or not? And did you improve? I think that's the best way to look at it. It will involve time, and sometimes you have to repeat it over and over and over, and it can be painful, I know that, but it's really worth it. But yeah, try to do one piece at a time and not the whole solo, and start slowly. I mean, really slow. Yeah, I think that's the best advice I can give you. My most popular video so far here on YouTube is how to get the original rockabilly guitar sound. And you can watch it here if you haven't done yet. And many people ask me, what's the intro lick? Where is it taken from? It's actually one of my songs that I wrote. It's called Love Is Not a Game. It was released in 2012 on an EP. It's called Dance, Dance, Dance by Randy Rich and the Pool Boys. And I actually showed how to play the intro lick in one of my Udemy courses, 101 Awesome Rockabilly Guitar Licks. So here it is again, and the first time for free on YouTube. The song is in the key of E, but the intro goes over the chord progression A, B7, E. And you start here with an open E string. I play the first part. It starts here on the low E string, open, to second, fourth. Then you move to the A string, back to E, fourth fret, back to A, first fret, and then a hammer on from first to second. One more time. And then the next part starts here on the open D string. And then there's a hammer-on pull-off on the A string, open to second and back to open. And that's the E string on the third fret. So when we got so far as this. And then the last part. Starts with the open E string. And then the octave higher here, the E on the D string. To the open D. Second fret, A string, open A. Then you can play the third fret, or I think I'll play this. The second fret here with a bending. Yeah. That's the last part. So let's put it together and I'll play the whole intro slowly for you.